is starting off, and that one thing's going to make their whole day turn around. Also, I like the curiosity. I think I've said this on here before, but in Ted Lasso, there's a great quote, and he says his dad used to tell him to be curious, not judgmental. Because if someone was curious instead of judgmental, they find out what led to that person, what led to the whole scenario that they're looking at. I mean, it could be something crazy, and if you're curious instead of judgmental, you might get more of a story. If you're judgmental, then you're probably going to be like, oh, whatever, that's what happened, and then walk away. It's just such a good quote. I can't get over it.
The other thing, and we talked about like being with your animals. Just see what they give you. I mean, and receive what they give you. It's easy for us to do that because, in essence, they can't tell other people what we've told them.
Right.
But one thing I've noticed playing with this little soiree I'm on, right, with possible, moving, the divorce, all this stuff, is set a morning routine, because it's easy for me to stay in my pajamas and not be motivated, or it's like I need a little bit of a script, a little bit of construct to do things. And it's part of what I'm going through, this weird depressive state of saying, dude, you got to get up. Let's go do something. And what I found is if I add things in the morning and I just say, okay, get up, take a shower, just like I normally would, right? Get dressed, take the dogs for a walk, get some reading in, do some meditation. And then, there's this cold therapy thing I've been working with, and delaying caffeine. Andrew Huberman, a lot of his stuff I've been looking at. It's pretty, it's stuff we should be doing anyway, but it also gives us some direction for the day. And it just makes me feel like I need to accomplish more, but not in a pressure way. Just like my energy comes up, I feel like and at the end of the day, I could sleep better because I don't have regret on 10 things I didn't do. Does that make sense?
Right, and definitely, because I've noticed a big difference in. I think I told you. I don't know if I said it on the podcast or just told you, but I started getting up at an hour and a half early instead of waking up on time to leave. I get up early and get. The other day it was just me and the kids, and Ash. We all just sat around like. We were all dressed. We were all ready to go, but we were early for everything. The kids were early for school. I was early for work. And we just sat around and just like we were being goofy. I was playing with the baby. The baby was giggling. Everybody was having a good time. Yeah. I sat down. Gray did his homework before Ash came down. Like it was just so nice to be able to just have that time to kind of start your day with a jump start of all good stuff.
Yeah, and
and then I find myself throughout the day not having that. Oh, yeah. And I find myself throughout the day not feeling that kind of like, we hit that lull at like 2:30, 3 o'clock. You hit that like, okay, now I need some caffeine. I need this. I need that. I found myself not having that, not needing, not wanting anything or not being like tired on the drive home or anything. But it's been a good like change of just that one thing. And then like next, once I get used to waking up early, I want to start doing a workout before I go to work. Like it's all things I'm just trying to do one little thing at a time, because I know if I try to change too much, then I'll be, well, why did I do this? And then I stop.
Right.
So I'm just trying to gradually go one good habit and get rid of one bad habit. Also, just like the soccer team that I started, it's a bunch of 35 and older guys that are going to go play soccer once a week. It's not a huge thing, but it's just getting active. It's getting out there. It's something that I can just have fun with the guys. I don't have to worry about anything but just playing soccer for 40 minutes. It's going to be nuts, but we're all really excited, and it's going to be a blast. But yeah, that's the type of things I'm trying to use the tools in the toolbox more.
Nice.
And I think that's the best part about this whole thing is, I mean, I'm learning, I think, as much as everybody who listens to us does.
Well, that's
so
it's
when
we started this, that was our goal, for you and I to learn and heal.
Right.
Yeah. The neighbors, the other day I was out with the dogs and stuff, and one of the neighbors called me and he says, I didn't know you took up running. And I was like, took up running? He says, yeah, I saw you jog. And I was like, no, I tripped over something. I was just trying to catch my balance.
One of the dogs walked under my legs and I tried not to face plant.
But it looked like I was jogging, so I was good. Just as
that's all you need.
That's right. So just to tie this up is why we don't receive or a lot of it. And I found this even in I was going to talk to you about this too, because our self-talk, even when
right.
we're absorbing the negative stuff we talk about, or even if we think it's something that we should say, like when you said, I don't deserve these kids, right, in your posts.
Right.
No, you do. I would rather you say what an amazing family we are. Or do you see what I'm saying, how it changes it into a positive thing? Because you do deserve exactly what all the great things that are happening to you. Right? And it's not because
I like I said, I'm not perfect.
Right. But those are the things, and that's part of the process of me doing my new thing of actually saying stuff, right? Because if we can change our self-talk, or just listen to it, right? And we can take the positives and the negatives and say that really doesn't make any sense. I don't know I'm saying that.
Yeah.
But if we go back to what negative stuff we've heard or the things that we've said to ourselves in the past, I think it's easier for us to self-deprecate a little bit and kind of look for that victim mentality, and not like we're pursuing it, but it makes it feel like, again, we need work.
Right. I mean, for me, I like the because I was big in, the self-deprecating humor, and I always wondered why I went that way with like jokes and stuff, because I'd always joke about myself, and then I started thinking about it, and it used to be, and I don't use that as much as a way to get a laugh or as talking. I try not to do it as much anymore. But a lot of it stemmed from me being like, okay, well, if I say something negative about myself, then one of two things is going to happen. Whoever had that to say isn't going to say it, so I won't hear it from them. I'm just hearing it from me, which, to find out now, is worse than if anybody else had said it. I don't care now if anybody else says it. Well, shut the hell up. Don't say it about yourself. Or somebody would give me that positive affirmation. Oh, no, that's not true, this. So it was like a fishing thing, or it was a block. So it's just easy to get into that routine of, you meet somebody or you're hanging out with somebody, you don't want to feel vulnerable, you don't want to have that said by anybody else. Excuse me. So you start picking on yourself instead of letting somebody else pick on you, or you start picking on yourself because you need that dopamine or whatever people are talking about. I know it's dopamine, but I don't know if that's how you get it. I just know it's a thing people like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and we throw a lot of cliche stuff, and I think that's part of. It's part of that safety net of, like you said, if I say something bad about myself, then somebody else won't say it. Somebody else might say something nice to me.
Right.
Not that I'll believe them for any more than the 2 seconds that it's being said.
Exactly. Exactly. It's so
because
funny.
It also,
it's exactly true.
Because it's not a sincere thing. We talk ourselves into saying that it's not sincere. They're just saying that because I said this.
Right. Even though that's why sometimes we said that in the first place, so somebody would say something nice, and then we're like, they were just saying that because I was being mean to myself.
Well, our negative sponge is full. We just fill it up.
Right.
So we just got to learn to squeeze that sponge out and say, all right, somebody say something nice to me because my sponge is empty.
Yeah, take the sponge out of the toolbox. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Leave the positive sponge. Take the negative sponge. Throw it.
Make the rest of the tools rusty.
Yeah. Nobody likes a rusty wrench.
Yeah, it was interesting to feel that over the last couple weeks, especially when I got the bronchitis and having to not be able to do things, it drove me crazy, but it also opened up the door to say, hey, listen, dude, you're still feeling some depression over all this stuff. You're not getting into what you need to be doing. And it's the stuff that I know I need to do. Right?
And maybe that's why your son asks you how you're doing every once in a while, because he knew you were not telling the full truth when you'd say, I'm fine. It's not the truth.
The F word.
Now you're getting me all fucking excited, and it's the end of the podcast, and now I'm cursing.
That was like the first time today. So anyway, even stuff that's negative, like the bronchitis, the little illness or something, can bring something that's positive if you can receive it, which I did. In the last few days, I've been out to town. I've gotten groceries. I've done driving range. I've talked to a couple people. Went through the little seminar thing, which was amazing. So, yeah, I'm getting back on track.
Yeah, but that's one of the things I've noted. I haven't noticed recently, but I noticed, or that's when I realized that I needed to get help and start taking it serious, because I needed to hit rock bottom. I needed to have that breakdown, like everything's bad. We're done. Like you're gone. I needed to have that moment to realize. I needed to get through that moment. I didn't need to have it. I needed to have it and then get through it. To realize the amount of work I needed to do, and also how much I wanted to be around, how much I had to live for. But I had to go through that deep, dark, mucky swamp to get through onto the nice sandy beach that we're coming up on right now. Nice. So it's just,
but that's
not everything negative is always negative.
Right. And that's another thing that is so cool about working with you on this, is because I didn't have to get to that spot. And it doesn't,
well, I'm glad you didn't.
It shows up in so many different ways. Well, I have a lot more tools than you had at that time too. But
true.
It shows up. It isn't just one thing. And I think that's what's important to let people know. Even though, and I was fine, I just wasn't flowing. I wasn't
right.
But I didn't even realize it myself until I had to actually sit there and not be able to do anything. Because if I'd move, I'd cough.
Well, and not everybody. Not everybody gets depression, and it's not a on-off switch. You know, it's one of those dimmer switches. It can hit you. I can be a little bit depressed sometimes. I could be a lot depressed, but it's a spectrum of depression, anxiety. All those things are a spectrum. I'll have days when I'm a little bit anxious just from work of, I want to get this much stuff done. And I've put that on myself. Nobody else has, but that's makes me anxious. And then I'm like, okay, well, take one of those things and do it another day, or don't plan your whole day out. Just see how every task goes, and say to yourself, I'm going to get as many tasks done as possible. That's the important thing. It's not important how much I get done. It's important how well and how well I am doing is the most important thing. So that's the hard part to get through. It's funny because I actually was talking. I have a job, and it's a father owns this business, and his son works for him. And I said, how is it working with your dad? He's like, well, we don't really work direct, like next to each other. He works here and I work here, but it's great. We have a great business. Our business is booming. Like, it's great. I was like, yeah, I don't think I could have done. I don't think I could work with my dad, 10 years ago, because he's like in his mid-20s. And he's like, oh no. I was like, well, but we didn't have the relationship that we have now. Now we have a podcast and we talk all the time, and we're talking on the podcast and all that stuff. And he was just like, it's crazy how that changes, isn't it? I was like, yeah, it's just everything's changing the right way. It's just funny to see how like different everybody's dynamic with their parents is different than everybody else's. So it's nice to get that, like, see somebody working with their father that is enjoying it, and us getting to enjoy doing this.
Absolutely. All right, man. That's all I have on my notes.
All right. Sounds good.
New
Look
toys.
at that. Look at that. Oh gosh, it's gonna be bad. Oh, I can record stuff to just put in the thing. It's gonna be awesome. All right. Well, just remember,
you are not broken, and you're not alone. The call to action this week is just really listen to your self-talk, and just notice it. That's mine.
Mine is give a dog a hug. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, no, I'm not kidding. Go give a dog a hug. Not a stranger's dog, because they might bite your face off.
Right.
But, yeah, give your pet some love, because I get attacked by mine. And every day it's a good thing. All right. Well, that is it.
If you could see you